Hey guys, I'm here today to talk to you about my favorite books that I read in the year of 2017. Now, my list is a little bit unique in the sense that most of the books I read this year actually come out next year because I pick OwlCrate books around 6 months in advance. But in total, I've read 90 books so far this year, so I had quite a lot to choose from, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about some of my favorite books I read. So the first book that I wanted to talk about is A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. I read this book really early in 2017 and I absolutely adored it. It's the story of two boys who used to be foster brothers when they were younger, and then they were separated, and now in high school they have found each other again. It's an incredibly powerful story about the power of friendship. It also deals with topics like mental illness, ADHD, abuse. It is a very heavy book, but I thought it was absolutely beautiful and very, very moving, and I highly recommend it. So next up, I wanted to talk about A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. This is the third and final book in the Shades of Magic trilogy, which is probably my favorite fantasy trilogy ever. I just absolutely love her writing. I love these characters. I'm sure you've heard of this before, but if you haven't, the first book is about a magician named Kel who has the ability to travel between parallel versions of London, and each different version of London has different magic and different rules, and it's the story about what happens when he smuggles an artifact from one London into another and all the chaos that ensues after that. So I thought that this was an amazing conclusion to the series. There were so many terrifying moments. I cried, I laughed, I swooned. It was just everything I wanted and more in the final book in the series, and I just think that Victoria Schwab can do no wrong. And another book that I just absolutely adored was When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. I had the flu one day, and I started this book while I was laying in bed, and I read it in one sitting, and it just made my day so much better. It's such a funny and heartwarming story. It's about two Indian American teens. We have Dimple, who is a very headstrong girl. She loves coding and technology, and her parents want her to be more traditional, and all they really want for her is to find another Indian boy to marry. Dimple really wants to go to a technology kind of summer school, and her parents decide to allow her to do this, but little does she know that they've also set up an arranged marriage with Rishi, who will be going to this program as well. Now, Rishi is quite different from Dimple. He actually enjoys his family's traditions, and he's very excited to meet his future wife, and when they meet, things do not go as planned. This is such a cute book. I know that it was very hyped this year, and I think it deserves all the hype it got. This was also the year that I read my very first Leigh Bardugo book, Six of Crows, and I finally understand why everybody is so excited about this duology. These characters stole my heart. I thought that the plot was very fast-paced and really fun to read. It's all about these characters going on a heist and breaking someone out of an impenetrable prison, and I just thought it was amazing. It has so much diversity, and I just loved this group's friendship. So not only is Six of Crows on my list of top 10s, but I also have to include the sequel, Crooked Kingdom, because it was just as good. If you are like me and you hadn't read this book yet, please do. I highly recommend it. It absolutely deserves all the love it gets. And 2017 was also exciting because I read my very first manga and I loved it. This is Death Note. It's a story by Tsugumi Ohba, and it is a book about a teenager who finds a death god's notebook, and by writing names of people in this notebook, he actually kills them. It's a story that's all about moral dilemmas and what is right and wrong, and I just thought it was so intriguing and unique and kind of mind-bending, and it makes you question what you believe, and I just can't wait to continue on with this series and read more volumes. So even if you've never read manga before, I think this one's really accessible, and especially if you like dark stories, so give it a try. So one book that really surprised me this year was Scythe by Neal Schusterman. I kind of just picked this one up on a whim. I wasn't sure if I'd like it, and I fell totally in love with it. Essentially, it takes place in our world in the future where humans have kind of fixed most of the world's problems. There's no famine, there's no disease, there's barely any violence. And because of this, the population is out of control. So because of the population crisis, in this society, they raise people up to be scythes, and scythes are the only people that get to determine who lives and who dies and how they die. And this book follows two teenagers who are taken on as apprentices to learn how to be a scythe. I just thought that the world building in this book was absolutely amazing. It was just unlike anything I've ever read. I don't know, if you like dystopians but you've been kind of like disappointed with some of like recent years, then definitely pick this one up, because I think it took it to a whole other level, and the politics and stuff discussed in this book are super interesting and will get you thinking. And another book that really shocked me with how much I loved it was The Names They Gave Us by Emery. So the story begins with our main character Lucy finding out that her mother has cancer for the second time. She's had it before and she beat it, and now it has returned, and Lucy is obviously devastated. So every summer, usually Lucy and her parents run a church camp, but this summer is a little bit different. Her mother has actually asked Lucy to be a camp counselor at a camp across the lake, which is for teens that have experienced trauma and just kind of have hard lives, to be honest. And Lucy's really apprehensive at first. She is really nervous to go there, but this is the story of her summer, kind of, you know, getting more of an open mind, meeting new friends, falling in love, and dealing with her mother's cancer and grief. It's super cute, but it also packs a punch, and I just absolutely loved it, and I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. This year was also really exciting for me because I discovered Anna-Marie McLemore, and she's quickly become one of my absolute favorite authors. I will buy everything that she publishes from now on, but my favorite book of hers that I read is The Weight of Feathers. This is kind of a Romeo and Juliet inspired story about two families, the Palomas and the Corbeaus. The Palomas are a family of performers, and they like to dress up as mermaids and do kind of acrobats within the rivers of the small town. And then the Corbeaus are also like a competing performing family, but they like to dress up with wings and like angels and perform tightrope skills in the treetops. And this is the story when a boy from the Corbeau family and a girl from the Paloma family meet and fall in love. It deals with a lot of family issues and things that occur in the past, and race, and just all sorts of different things, and I just thought it was so beautifully written. If you like lush, romantic, descriptive writing, this is the author for you. All of her books are beautiful, and this one is just exceptional. So I talk about it a lot on this channel, and for good reason. I highly recommend picking up her books. And another book that I really loved was Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This was my very first Jason Reynolds novel, and I loved it. I can't wait to pick up more of his books. I just think he's such an important author. This book is super unique in the sense that it is told in verse, and the entire story takes place in 60 seconds in an elevator ride. It's a story about gangs, about race, about violence, and about family, and it's just incredibly powerful. It really packs a punch, and it's very easy to get through considering it is in verse, so I just highly recommend picking it up. It's like a beautiful blend of poetry and a novel, and it was on the New York Times bestseller list, and for good reason. So if you haven't picked up Jason Reynolds yet, please do. I think he's just one of the most important writers today, and I can't wait to read more from him. And the final book that I wanted to talk about is Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney C. Stevens. I actually do not have a physical copy of this anymore because I loved it so much that I sent it to a friend who I thought could really use it, and I'm definitely gonna go buy another copy for my collection. It's a very cute story about a group of friends that call themselves the Hexagon, and our main character Billy is a tomboy and the daughter of a preacher in this small town. It's a simple story in that the plot is essentially this group of friends trying to save a festival that occurs in this town, and they just kind of come together and really try and bring the entire town together to do this festival. But it also deals a lot with gender and identity and sexuality, and I just thought it was handled so well. And I don't know, if you are interested in LGBTQ books, then I think this is one that you should not miss. It's super cute, and the friendship is just total friendship goals, you guys. So please pick it up. I don't think enough people got it this year, and I just think it's awesome. So those were some of the books that I absolutely adored in the year of 2017. I'm so happy with my reading year, and I hope you guys had a great one too. Let me know what books you were obsessed with this year. I'd love to add more to my TBR. And as a little reminder, a lot of the books that I read this year and absolutely loved, you will see in future OwlCrate boxes, so keep an eye out for that. We have some really exciting things coming up. Hope you guys had a great holiday. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Happy reading, and thanks for being awesome. Bye.